The story begins outside Von Doom Industries, where a massive 30-foot statue of Dr. Doom is being built. Victor Von Doom is one of the richest men in the world, with more money than he could ever need. Standing beside the statue is his childhood friend, Reed Richards, a brilliant scientist who has recently gone broke. Reed and his best friend Ben Grimm need funding for an experiment, so they turn to Victor. Reed explains that he wants to conduct an experiment that could unlock one of the biggest mysteries behind human evolution. Reed believes that a powerful cosmic storm, carried to Earth by solar winds, may have played a major role in the evolution of life on the planet. And now, a similar cosmic storm is about to pass by Earth again. If they can study the storm from space, it could lead to major breakthroughs in genetics and medicine. But to do that, they need Victor's advanced space technology to reach the storm and study it up close. Victor agrees to fund Reed's experiment because he believes Reed's research could bring huge benefits to his company. Victor also has an advanced space station equipped with powerful shields that can protect the researchers from the cosmic storm. But there is one condition. Victor wants 75% of all applications and patents that come from the research. Reed has no other choice but to accept the deal. The project also includes Victor's genetic research director, Sue Storm. But Sue isn't just another scientist. She's also Reed's ex-girlfriend. Sue walks Reed and Ben through all the mission preparations and explains that she'll be in charge of the launch. Ben will serve as the co-pilot, while Sue's brother, Johnny Storm, will be the main pilot. After 6 weeks of preparation, the day of the mission finally arrives. Reed, Ben, Sue, Johnny, and Victor arrive at the space station. With only a few hours left before the cosmic storm arrives, all 5 of them move into the station's main module, which is protected by powerful shields. According to the plan, Ben has to leave the station and collect several samples so they can directly study how the cosmic storm affects them. Johnny helps Ben put on his spacesuit, and while they're getting ready, he starts asking Ben about Reed and Sue. Johnny suspects Reed might still have feelings for Sue. Meanwhile, Victor is talking to Sue about their future. In fact, Victor has decided to propose to her, but then Reed receives an alarming signal. The cosmic storm is arriving much sooner than expected. Instead of having several hours, they only have a few minutes. Reed immediately rushes to Victor and tells him they need to abort the mission, but Victor refuses to back down. He's convinced the station's shields will protect them, so Victor orders Reed to bring Ben back inside and nothing more. Reed and Johnny immediately call Ben back. Ben starts rushing toward the airlock, but then Victor begins shutting down the shields. Sue becomes furious when she realizes Victor is willing to leave the others outside. She rushes out to help them, but by then, it's already too late. The cosmic storm reaches the space station. Ben is the first one caught in the radiation, but the other 4 are hit as well, including Victor. Sometime later, all 5 of them are placed in quarantine at one of Victor's facilities back on Earth, but none of them realize what the cosmic storm has done to their bodies. Meanwhile, Victor tries to keep his company under control. As news of the space mission accident spreads, Von Doom Industries' stock begins to crash. Victor assures his business partners that he'll fix everything, but they give him only 1 week. If the company's situation doesn't improve within that time, they'll pull their money out. Back in quarantine, Johnny can't stand being stuck inside anymore. He sneaks out of the facility and heads into the nearby mountains to go snowboarding. But suddenly, something strange begins happening to his body. As his adrenaline rises, flames start bursting from his body. Within seconds, Johnny is completely engulfed in fire and suddenly takes off into the air. But soon, he loses control and crashes into the snow, melting the area around him and leaving a small crater filled with water. Now Johnny realizes that something seriously strange is happening to him. Meanwhile, Ben tries to bring Reed and Sue closer together. He basically sets up a date for them in the cafeteria, but after a while, Ben starts feeling awkward and decides to leave. As soon as Reed and Sue are alone, they begin arguing. Then something even stranger happens to Sue. Her body suddenly starts turning invisible. Sue is terrified. In panic, she accidentally knocks over a bottle, and Reed reaches out to catch it, but his arm suddenly stretches far beyond its normal length and reaches the bottle. That's when they realize the cosmic storm didn't just affect Johnny. It changed all of them. Johnny suddenly arrives and tells them about his new fire powers. Now, Sue's theory is confirmed. The cosmic storm has altered all of their DNA, but the biggest change was happening to Ben. His body was slowly transforming into something completely different. Unlike the others, Ben was turning into a massive, incredibly powerful creature. Reed and the others rush to Ben's room to check on him, but their passcode doesn't work. That's when Reed uses his new ability. He stretches his arm to an unnatural length, slides it under the door, and unlocks it from the inside. But when they enter the room, they discover that Ben has already escaped. Victor also arrives, and Reed explains that the cosmic storm caused Ben's transformation. Now Victor realizes that all of them are experiencing different physical changes. He orders them to find Ben immediately. Reed quickly figures out where Ben might have gone, his home, and he's right. Ben has already made his way back to his wife, Debbie. He calls her and asks her to come outside, but when Ben steps out of the darkness and Debbie sees what he's become, she immediately backs away in fear. She screams and runs back inside. For Ben, this moment is devastating. He wasn't just struggling to accept what had happened to his body. Now, even his own wife was terrified of him. The next day, Reed and the others head into the city to find Debbie. Meanwhile, Ben is sitting alone on a bridge. That's when he notices a man standing nearby, apparently about to jump. Ben tries to stop him, but the man gets so frightened by Ben's terrifying appearance that he suddenly loses his balance and falls toward the road below. Ben immediately jumps after him to save him, but at that exact moment, a massive truck is heading straight toward them. Ben doesn't have time to think. He plants his feet and uses all his strength to stop the truck. Everyone nearby is stunned by the incredible display of power, but the danger isn't over yet. The truck crash causes several vehicles on the bridge to slam into each other, creating complete chaos. The truck's driver is also trapped inside. Ben uses his strength to rip the truck door open and pull the driver to safety, but the police don't know who Ben really is. They assume he's some kind of dangerous creature and order him to back away. Then, suddenly, a power cable snaps, and flames begin spreading across the bridge. Ben manages to get away from the fire. Meanwhile, Reed and the others try to get past the police barricade. Sue uses her invisibility to sneak inside. Then Johnny spots a young girl trapped between several cars, with a gas tank dangerously close to her. Johnny immediately rushes over and uses his powers to shield her from the flames, but suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the bridge. Several cars are thrown into the air and crash into an approaching fire truck. The fire truck slides toward the edge of the bridge and ends up hanging dangerously over the river. One firefighter falls out of the truck and ends up hanging above the water. The other firefighters try to pull him back, but the truck starts tipping even farther toward the edge. That's when Ben steps in. Using every bit of strength he has, he holds the massive truck in place and prevents it from falling. At the same time, another firefighter nearly falls over the edge. Reed uses his new ability again. He stretches his arm to an incredible length and grabs the firefighter, pulling him safely back onto the bridge. Finally, Ben uses all his strength to pull the fire truck back onto solid ground. For the first time, the people around them realize the truth. These four aren't dangerous monsters. They're heroes who are saving lives. The police lower their weapons, and the crowd starts cheering for them. But then, Debbie arrives. Ben happily walks toward her, hoping that now she'll finally understand that underneath his new appearance, he's still the same Ben she loved. But instead of coming closer, Debbie takes off her engagement ring and walks away. Ben's heart is completely shattered. Reed picks up the ring and promises Ben that no matter what it takes, he'll find a way to turn him back into his old self. Meanwhile, the media has already given the four of them a new name, the Fantastic Four. Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben quickly become famous. But Reed doesn't care about the fame. He only wants one thing, to turn his friends back to normal. He invites all three of them to stay with him in his lab and apartment so he can study the changes in their bodies. That's when Victor arrives. Sue tells him that she's staying with Reed because Reed is trying to reverse the changes in their DNA. Victor says he wants to help them too, but Reed apologizes to Victor for what happened during the mission. Victor turns the blame back on Reed. Reed reminds him that Victor refused to abort the mission even after they received the warning that the storm was arriving early. Victor becomes furious, and strangely enough, his anger seems to affect the building's electricity. Ben steps between them and manages to calm things down. Victor storms off, but once he reaches the elevator, he punches the wall in frustration, and that's when Victor discovers something terrifying. His body has changed too. Back at the lab, Reed and Sue continue running tests on the others. Now they're finally beginning to understand the true nature of their powers. Ben's body has become almost completely solid, giving him incredible strength and durability. Sue's invisibility is actually the ability to bend light around her body, and Johnny's body can reach extreme temperatures, hot enough to approach the heat of the sun. But Reed warns Johnny that if he pushes his temperature too far, he could potentially become a danger to all life on Earth. For the first time, Johnny realizes just how dangerous these powers could really be. Sue slowly learns how to control her invisibility, but her other power is still completely unpredictable. Meanwhile, Victor's body is going through an even more dangerous transformation. His entire body is slowly turning into an organic metallic alloy. The metal is stronger than titanium and harder than diamond. A doctor becomes suspicious that some kind of infection is spreading through Victor's body, but he can't figure out what's causing it. He suggests that they should contact the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, but Victor isn't willing to let anyone discover his condition or his secrets, so he kills the doctor. Back at the lab, Reed makes another interesting discovery. Their special suits have also been altered by the cosmic storm. Now the suits can adapt to their powers, making it much easier for them to control and use their abilities, but their lives are far from normal now. Whenever Sue goes out in public, crowds gather just to see her. Eventually, she's forced to turn invisible just to escape the attention. Reed is worried that their powers are still evolving, but Johnny sees things differently. He believes they may have been given these powers for a reason. Reed still isn't convinced. He remains focused on finding a cure. He decides to build a machine that can recreate the cosmic storm. If he can reverse the same cosmic wave that changed their DNA, there's a chance he can reverse their mutations too. But the machine comes with a huge risk. If something goes wrong, their powers could become even stronger, or the experiment could kill them. Even knowing the danger, Reed is willing to take the risk. Meanwhile, Victor's situation keeps getting worse. His company is almost completely ruined, while the media continues reporting on his failures. And now, Victor has developed another terrifying ability. He can control electricity. Victor visits one of his business partners and uses his new power to kill him. At this point, the human side of Victor is slowly disappearing. All that's left is anger, hatred, and a desire for revenge. And his biggest target is Reed Richards. Meanwhile, Johnny is actually enjoying his new life. Instead of hiding his powers, he's having fun with them. He even takes part in a dangerous stunt that's broadcast live on television. Reed and Sue are furious when they see it. Ben is also ready to confront Johnny, but Sue steps in before things get out of control. Johnny eventually tells Reed that he doesn't want to become normal again. He believes they were given these powers for a reason, but Reed still wants to find a cure, and Victor has already created a plan of his own. He wants to destroy the Fantastic Four, but once again, his main target is Reed, and the first person he decides to use is Ben. Victor approaches Ben and starts planting doubts in his mind. He convinces Ben that Reed is deliberately taking so long to cure him. According to Victor, Reed doesn't really want to turn Ben back because he wants to spend more time with Sue. When Ben returns to the lab, he sees Reed and Sue together and angrily demands to know why Reed still hasn't fixed him. Reed explains that he needs more time to finish the machine properly. If he rushes the process, their powers could become even stronger, or they could all die, but Ben is too angry to listen. He attacks Reed. Reed manages to stop him, but Ben storms out of the lab. Meanwhile, Johnny and Sue also get into an argument. Reed decides to test the machine on himself, but during the experiment, his powers suddenly become even stronger. Sue arrives just in time to help him and realizes that Reed has been experimenting on himself. And throughout all of this, Victor has been watching everything from the shadows. He's been waiting for the perfect opportunity, and now, that opportunity has finally arrived. Victor calls Ben back to him. He tells Ben that Reed's machine isn't powerful enough yet to turn him back to normal, but Victor claims that with his electrical powers, he can provide the machine with enough energy to make it work. Ben believes him. He steps inside the machine. Victor powers it up, and this time, the experiment actually works. Ben transforms back into his old human form. He's overwhelmed with happiness, but within moments, he realizes the truth. Victor never did this to help him. He only turned Ben back to normal because he wanted to use him as part of his plan. Ben tells Victor that he can be cured too, but Victor gives him a shocking answer. He says he doesn't want to be cured. He's always wanted power, and now he finally has enough power to control the entire world. Victor then punches Ben with incredible force, sending him flying across the room and knocking him unconscious. Just then, Reed arrives. Victor uses his electrical powers to attack him and throws Reed out of the building. Reed crashes badly and struggles to control his stretched body. Victor grabs him and takes him back to his office. Then, for the first time, Victor puts on his iconic metal mask. He is no longer just Victor Von Doom. He has officially become Dr. Doom. Meanwhile, Sue and Johnny find Ben. Ben tells them that Victor used the machine for his own purposes and reveals the shocking truth. Victor has been affected by the cosmic storm too. Sue immediately asks where Reed is. Then they notice the shattered window. They instantly realize what happened. Victor took Reed with him. Meanwhile, Victor is torturing Reed. He lowers Reed's body temperature so much that Reed can barely use his powers. After that, Victor prepares a missile with a new target, Johnny. He wants to eliminate Sue and Johnny too, but Johnny spots the missile just in time. He immediately flies out of the building and tries to lure it away, but the missile won't stop following him. That's when Johnny realizes the truth. It's a heat-seeking missile, tracking his body heat. So Johnny leads it far away from the lab, and for the first time, he gains complete control over his flying ability. He takes the missile out over the water and destroys it safely. Meanwhile, Sue heads out to rescue Reed. But she doesn't take Ben with her because he's now back to being a normal human, which leaves him vulnerable. So Ben makes a difficult decision. He steps back into the machine to regain his powers. As soon as the machine activates, Ben transforms back into the Thing. Now he's ready to fight. Sue uses her invisibility to sneak inside and free Reed from his restraints. But Victor suddenly arrives. Sue tries to convince him to stop what he's doing, but Victor isn't listening anymore. Sue attacks him with her powers and disappears. Victor uses his electrical abilities to track her down. He grabs her by the neck and lifts her into the air, ready to kill her. But then, crash! Ben smashes through the wall. His full strength is back. He charges at Victor and lands a powerful attack. Reed and Sue join the fight, trying to help Ben, but Victor uses his powers to lift Ben off the ground and throw him out of the building. Down below, a crowd and several police officers have gathered. The police immediately recognize Victor as the biggest threat and open fire. Victor is about to attack them with his electrical powers when suddenly, Ben grabs a car and throws it straight at him, but the attack barely affects Victor's metal body. Now the two of them face off in a brutal one-on-one fight. Victor overpowers Ben and is about to finish him, but then Reed, Sue, and Johnny arrive. For the first time, all four members of the Fantastic Four stand together against Victor. Victor unleashes the full force of his electrical powers and starts overwhelming all four of them. Reed manages to hold him back for a few moments, and then he gets an idea. He tells Johnny to push his powers to the maximum. Johnny takes off at incredible speed, creating a powerful vortex with Victor trapped right in the center. The heat becomes so intense that Victor's entire metal body starts glowing red hot, but the heat is becoming dangerous for everyone around them. So Sue uses her powers to contain the heat and protect the people nearby. Within moments, Victor's metal body becomes extremely hot, and then Ben makes his move. He throws water directly onto Victor. The sudden temperature change causes Victor's metal body to harden instantly, leaving him completely immobilized. And just like that, the Fantastic Four defeat the villain they unknowingly helped create. For the first time, the world doesn't see them as people whose bodies were mysteriously changed. They're now officially a super team. The crowd celebrates their victory. Later, the four friends celebrate their success together on a boat. Ben even has a new girlfriend. Reed finally gathers the courage to propose to Sue, and the two grow closer than ever. And Johnny? He's still enjoying his powers and living life his own way. But then, the final moments reveal one last twist. Victor Von Doom isn't dead. He's being transported back to his homeland of Latveria. So even though the Fantastic Four defeated their greatest enemy that day, Dr. Doom's story was far from over.